Guess who interrupted the session of Cooped Up? Guess who planned it? Spoiler alert! I planned it! Harris McSheffery! I planned the whole interruption of that thing. See, I have a ringtone on my phone, and it was inspired by a mentor of mine. I will talk about the ringtone from a GarageBand session perspective, because that's how I originally did the ringtone. Here's the GarageBand session of my ringtone, which I exported into ringtone format. So, here's what the guitar part sounded like run through different effects. First, the bullhorn, which sounds a lot like a distortion, then the telephone, which is supposed to sound like a telephone, by rolling off certain frequencies on either end. Telephone sound, and then the dreamy, which is cool, goes quite well with what you'll see eventually, like the distractions of the different beeping sounds from the stove beep, which you will see down the session, which I'll show you eventually. Stop beep. So, here's the individual sounds. Now that's the guitar parts. Then I have the beatbox groove that goes with it. So, here's the beatbox groove. So it sounds a little bit wonky, but that's 15/8 time for you. Now, here's in context of the guitar and the beatboxing groove. Now, in the guitar harmonics parts, which don't sound rhythmic on their own, but they're given a context by the rest, so I'll let you hear the guitar harmonics first. Now here's the other guitar harmonics part. Now here's the two harmonics parts together. Now, here's the parts together, but I haven't put the beeps in yet. Now, this isn't even just the most exciting part yet. Now, next part I have is the banjo. What I really did with the banjo is I took a ringtone and sampled it using the sampler in GarageBand, if anyone knows about that. And I just played certain parts of it on the sampler instrument. The result, you get this wonderful sound of banjo chords. Now that's the banjo. Now, here it is in context with the rest of the parts and how it sounds. So there's a lot of detail that goes into these ringtones. Now, I'm going to show you the stove beeps.
I'll show each beep one at a time. The way I did the stove beep was I was cooking some pad thai as a dish for myself to eat, and I had decided I was going to record just to get some ideas for ringtones. Anyway, there was a time when the stove beeped while I was cooking, so I had to be recording at that time in GarageBand. So I took the beep portion, despite there being cooking noise, and I decided I liked the cooking sounds, like the sizzling and crackling of dishes and those sounds that cooking makes. And I decided that sounded a bit like vinyl crackle, about like a lo-fi touch. So I decided I would sample that and run it through an arpeggiator in the GarageBand app. And here's what the stove beep sounds like in the arpeggiator. Now, it may be hard to tell, but that was actually from a stove beep, and it plays at different speeds for each different key you press on the sampler. That's like old school sampling, but in the digital realm now. And just like a classic sampler, the faster pitches are faster speeds mean higher frequency, higher pitch. Lower speeds, lower frequency, lower pitch. Now, here's the other beep. I used each of the stove beeps at a different timing, rhythm, so at different speeds, and when you put them all together, they sound cacophonous. Now here's the first two stove beeps together. And now, the third stove beep is a different speed than the others. Now here's all the three stove beeps together. Yep. Sounds like a slot machine gone wild. Here's what the whole ringtone sounds like now. The whole ringtone sounds like this from the beginning. I had a fun time making the ringtone.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and keep on tuning. Yes, I actually used an alternative tuning for this ringtone. More on that in a future video.